What's up, everybody? This is Henry Fleischer here from the Cannabis Dispatch, also the CBD Business Networking group on Facebook, and I have a very special guest today. I have Frank Palomino. And so, Frank, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a senior accountant with Lead Book CFO. We are a completely virtual firm, and we've been in the cannabis space for quite a while. I say quite a while, but about 3 years now. And we're really just trying to help other cannabis business owners try to navigate their way around 280E and everything else like that. All the different nuances that are coming down with maintaining financials and staying compliant and all that with the IRS. So yeah, we love it. We enjoy working with our clients, have clients all over the place. I am in Texas. I know one of the first things people say when they say, oh, you're from Texas, it's not even legal there. Well, I may be in Texas, but everything that we've learned, like I mentioned, we're completely virtual. So in terms of where we're helping clients, we have clients in Oregon, California, Oklahoma, Nevada. So all the states that have been legalizing, we've been working with those clients to try to help them get a little bit more clarity on their financials and kind of reduce tax where they can, because that 280 is so hard, man.
And what was it that made you want to go into the cannabis side?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I've been an entrepreneur, I guess, most of my life. And I aside from that, just cannabis itself has helped me tremendously on a personal front. Back in college, went through some dark times, but cannabis is there to really help me find my way. Because like I mentioned, there was some dark times, and alcohol abuse and all that stuff was something that was part of my life. I was trying to get away from it, and then I found cannabis, and that kind of helped me out. So when it came down to getting my CPA license and everything else like that, I knew I wanted to be in the space, not only because cannabis helped me, but primarily because I knew that there was a lot of need in terms of helping navigate some of these things that are really just bogging down the industry as a whole for people who are trying to, not only change the stigma, run their business right. And it makes it really hard.
Mm-hmm. And what was the toughest thing you went through when you first opened up?
Sure. The toughest thing when I first opened up, that would be learning all the different nuances in terms of what can be deducted, learning how to communicate to potential clients, and even just the clients that what the best way to tackle some of this stuff is. That whole 280E, like I mentioned, is so hard on some people. We just finished doing some tax returns, and I had to disallow 1.2 million in expenses in one of my clients' business. You turn around and put that into a tax wise, that's $240,000 of tax that now they have to pay, right? Primarily because it's just phantom income. The IRS says you can't deduct this, and as a result, those expenses are already paid out. And it's just income that is not even there. So learning all that, learning the different nuances, learning how to really maximize those deductions for our clients in a way that is compliant. So it's constantly changing. We don't have anything that's there, like solidified. We get different tax courts that, different businesses are appealing with the IRS. And they come back and the IRS is like, no, screw you. That's not the way it works. This is the way the tax code is, and we're not going to let you have any deductions.
Ah, got it. And is there anything you would do differently if you had to start over from day one?
Anything different? I don't know. Before I started reaching out and grabbing clients, I learned as much as I could. So maybe trying to get some clients from the get-go and learning with them and growing with them, as opposed to just, in terms of a business standpoint, right? For my own business, it kind of, until I got into the habit of doing more of the actual work with the clients, what I had was just knowledge. So in practice, it's a lot different. We can read books all day, but until you start actually putting it into practice and learning a little bit more about how certain things work, all it is just knowledge. And you start learning a little bit more about how to employ these tactics when you're actually working in the field. So I think that would have been it. I would have not been as scared to jump out and start helping, because once I did, there was quite still a little bit of a learning curve. And I know for me, I just wanted to help do it right for my clients, but I think that kind of slowed down progress initially, because I've been trying to, well, I tried to get into the cannabis industry back in 2017 with my own firm, and like I said, it slowed down progress, and it wasn't until late 2018 that I really started picking up some traction and working in the field. So I took a whole year of learning and stuff, but I really would have just jumped right in.
Ah, got it. What would you say is the toughest part about having a business in 2021?
The toughest part of having a business in 2021, let's see. I guess it's just a lot of the uncertainty, right? When we're talking about cannabis, well, let's just drop it down to just in general. Everything's changing. Last year, at this time last year, we were 2 months into the pandemic. Everything was just kind of going. It had changed the entire way we do business, across the board for most people. In terms of accounting, it seems like a lot of accounting firms were we're pushing back primarily against having virtual type services, and it kind of pushed them to start doing it better. Now, we have been in doing virtual work for a while, so we already had a little bit of a background, well, a lot more so, of background in doing virtual work. So it made our job a little bit easier. But right now, the biggest thing in running a business in 2021, and especially in the cannabis space, is just a lot of uncertainty. We're not sure when things are going to change at the federal level. Maybe deschedulization of cannabis to from a Schedule 1 or 2 to 3. That would change a lot of things on the taxation level. In terms of 2, when we are talking about just the uncertainty here in Texas, it's a little bit different. We're not medical marijuana per se. They are doing some different things, but we're way behind the curve in terms of what's going on outside of Texas for all the cannabis businesses. Here in Texas with the CBD and hemp, a lot of what they are seeing, a big driving force for them is Delta 8. And just past couple of days, there was some changes or proposed changes at the state capitol with the legislation that is going to ban Delta 8. So I know for a lot of cannabis businesses or hemp businesses, vape shops, everyone here in Texas, they're primarily going to get hurt. I mean, sure, they have the CBD that they work off, but I know it has been really big sales increase with Delta 8 here in the state. So, it's one of those things that until we get more clarification around all this stuff, it's going to be really hard.
Oh, yeah. Especially too with like Delta 8, seems counterintuitive that they're banning it when when legalization is happening across the country.
Yeah, it's crazy. And when hemp was legalized, it said hemp and all its derivatives, and now they're saying, oh no, it's a synthetic one, and you can't do it. It's just it's frustrating. And I say frustrating, and I'm not a retailer of cannabis goods. I help the retailers, but everyone's just trying to do it right, and then they start throwing curveballs like that. It just makes it harder.
Of course. And if a client or customer was to choose between your business and 3 others just like yours, why would you suggest they give you a try first?
Okay. Well, we're not new to the space. We Between me and my partner, we have 20 plus years of experience in accounting and tax. All of our processes are streamlined when it comes down to working with us. We make sure that the client experience is just top notch. We are always on top of it, of conversations. We're proactive. I'm not sure if you took a look at our blog, but we try to put content out there that's always going to be helping everyone. And if you're not our client, we guarantee that there's something out there that can definitely help you. So we're just not. I'm not sure what the correct term is, but we're always in help mode. We want to help business owners, and primarily because we know what it's like to be an entrepreneur, to sit and not know what the hell you're doing. Like I remember when I first started my business, right? I'm an accountant. I had my CPA license. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. Well, I didn't know how to market. I made it super hard, I immediately had to learn how to be a salesman. And I say a salesman, and not in the like bad sense, right? Not the I'm gonna come knock on your door, send you emails constantly and bug the hell out of you. That's not what it's about, but rather what do we provide that makes you as our client your life easier? What do you need? And a lot of entrepreneurs, they need clarity in their financials. They need to know that their taxes are paid. They need to know that the cash flow is where it needs to be. They don't want surprises, and that's what we're here to help with.
Oh, of course. What's the number one way you currently bring in new customers, clients?
Yeah. Well, it's a combination of things. I think primarily we get a lot of referrals from other past clients, and not only that, but other colleagues too, that maybe somebody is not really able to help, but they know we can. And same with client referrals, they just like what we've done, so they refer other people to us. Other ways too that we have got some new businesses, just marketing, old-fashioned marketing, putting out blog posts, creating content that we feel is valuable to other entrepreneurs and just people in the space, giving them the information that they want. That way they can succeed.
Oh, what? Okay, gotcha. And has the internet played a big role in your business as it's becoming more prevalent?
Oh, absolutely. Like I mentioned, we're completely virtual. So if it wasn't for the internet, I wouldn't be able to be working with these companies outside the state. Not only that, but outside of my area, right? So it has tremendously changed the way we do things for our clients. In fact, I can honestly say I've maybe have met a handful of my clients face to face. Other than that, it's just like this, right? We have conversations over Zoom, phone conversations, emails. So it's dramatically changed the way we do business. I don't sit across from anybody anymore unless it's like this. So yeah, so it's crazy.
Oh, yeah, gotcha. If you have to take a look 6 months to a year into the future, where'd you like to see your business?
Sure. So 6 months to a year, I guess we would definitely like to be growing, to be able to help more entrepreneurs and help them gain clarity in their financials, help them increase their bottom line. And then that's really what we think about our services, right? We don't think of it as a cost, but rather an investment, because the way it works is that you are hiring us to get some better insight into your financials. That way you can make the better decisions and help your business grow. Now, the traditional bookkeepers or accountants, you talk to them one time a year when you have your taxes due, or bookkeepers, they put all your information together, give a report, and you have no idea what the hell it is, right? Well, income, expenses, well, how do I optimize it? No, that's not what we do. What we do is we have conversations with you. We talk about where you want to be with your business, and then what steps you need to take to grow there. There's a lot of different things in business and different nuances that that we are good at, and we want our clients to focus on what they're good at. So that's primarily what it is. We just want to help them succeed, and in doing so, we're creating this strategic partnership with our clients to help them do that.
Oh, wow. And out of curiosity too, like which part of the or which industries did you work with heavily before you got into cannabis as an accountant?
Yeah, sure. So primarily, I was a tax accountant. I was that person I was just talking about, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't me directly facing with the clients. I worked for somebody else, and they talked with the clients. All I did was prepare tax returns, and those tax returns, for most, it was for high net worth individuals. We didn't see tax returns that came through that were less than $500,000 worth of income, right? And that's just income. That's not what they're actually worth. And so that's where my experience lies in terms of tax. I learned a lot of different advanced tax strategies to help reduce tax liability. I have to say legally, right? Because there's ways around it where you can just I'm just going to avoid it, but that's not at all legal, and that's not what we're about. But that's where my experience landed before. And then when I started my business initially, I was helping out real estate investors, also, brokers and different things like that. So I was helping them out, and that's where my partner has a lot of experience too. And then, back in 2018, we just changed and pivoted, and really just to be more an advisor type of position for our clients to help them figure out what they want to do, and then put a plan in place with them to really grow forward.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Where do you see the industry heading in the next few years with cannabis?
Oh yeah. Well, I guess the first thing we have to overcome is that hurdle of legalization at the federal level. Once that's done, man, I think the sky's the limit. There's just too much. I think there's a lot of backing, between everyone. The stigma's changing. Cannabis isn't for people who are just stoners all day, who sit down and oh yeah, let's toke. I'm sorry about the language, but let's just do this all day. That's not what it's about. People are using it for medicine, and that's exactly what I think where it's going to be headed to, using it to medicate yourselves, learning more about yourself, and then in terms of recreational use and everything else like that. We already know that alcohol sales are down tremendously, especially in those states, and we're not seeing any type of increase of adolescent use when in those states that have legalized. So I think what's happening in those states that have legalized, they're showing that there is responsible ways to conduct this business, and there's responsible ways to tax it and have businesses that flourish. So the biggest barrier for a lot of these companies in making real money is that tax code, because like I mentioned earlier, one company alone was 1.2 million in expenses that we couldn't deduct, and that's coming out of someone's pocket, right? They're having to pay taxes, and if they're not doing it right, those people are getting out of business. They thought they were coming into the cannabis space to run a flourishing business, but that tax code really just screwed them over, and they had no idea. They thought it ran like every other business, but it doesn't. When it comes down to that, your deductions aren't the same, so you can't take expenses like advertising, wages, and stuff like that, unless you're like a cultivator or maybe you're processing stuff. There's ways around it, but if you're a retailer, you're strictly stuck with your cost of goods sold plus freight. So it makes it really difficult, man.
Got it. Oh man, trying to think what other. I know it's kind of interesting too to see a firm special like a cannabis accounting firm too.
Mm-hmm.
So what service other than tax or any other services you provide too?
Yeah, well, tax is a smaller portion of what we do. We primarily provide outsourced CFO services. So like I mentioned, what we focus on is helping you, the client, really drive down those numbers and seeing what you need to do to increase your bottom line, whether it be allocating some of your costs to cost of goods sold, that way you can take that expense, or improving your cash flow. How often do you need to replenish inventory? How much cash can you use to replenish inventory? What can I pay myself? What can I pay my employees? What about advertising? Since it's not deductible, how do I make the most of it, right? So there's a lot of different variables in there that unless you're working with somebody who kind of knows those nuances, it makes it really difficult to make those right decisions. And not only that, but a lot of people or a lot of accountants and bookkeepers don't know how to maintain those books appropriately to get those right figures. It makes it especially difficult to really drill down the correct numbers, right? I had a cultivator that I started working with last year that I asked her, how much is your cost per pound, right? And they said X amount. I'm like, okay, cool. Now, is that your true cost? Well, what do you mean? Well, I mean, you can actually put some of your other costs into there. And are you talking about that's your true bottom line or your actual cost to produce that, right? So there's different methods of accounting. There's cash basis accounting. There's an accrual method of accounting, and depending on which one you're using, it can skew those costs. So it's really important that the person that's helping you out and maintaining your financials, that they know what they're doing to give you an accurate number. That way you can really drill home what you need to do on your end to grow your business or hire new people or expand. There's a lot of different things in there.
Got it. What has been the biggest expense for cannabis businesses too?
That's just primarily just cost of goods sold, and that's not. I mean, they say it's an expense, but really it's just a recapture of capital, because you're putting that out in order to sell stuff, right? So, expenses. When you're talking about expenses, cannabis businesses don't really have expenses. They have costs that they can capitalize into their inventory and count that as a portion of their cost of goods sold. But like they can't take their advertising, like I mentioned earlier. They can't take utilities, rent, unless there's a way to allocate that into your inventory and capitalize it in there and say that this is a part of my cost of my product.
Mm-hmm. And out of your clients too, like how many of them are like store owners, and what other roles do they have? Are they all like store owners? Is it a mix of people?
It's a mix. So we have some retailers, and we have some companies that are completely vertically integrated, where they grow it, they process it, and then they have a retail store too. So it's a mix. There are some mom and pop shops, but primarily we have clients that have employees and different retail locations, and then not only that, but a couple different farms too.
Got it. And what advice would you give to somebody who's thinking about entering the cannabis industry?
Yeah, if they're thinking about entering the cannabis industry, work with someone who knows how to put your financials together and really drive down your costs, like actual taxable costs, because that can really screw someone up. Like I mentioned, when it comes to that 280E tax, we've just seen some people plowed, man, just horribly. And I hate to do it, right? It's not even that I'm doing it. I'm just preparing the return and looking at financials and doing what is legal and in terms of allocating costs. So when I have to call up a client and say, hey man, we have about $500,000 of your expenses that we can't deduct. And you're going to be personally liable for that because you decided to take this particular entity choice, right? So there are ways around having that personal liability taken away from you through, primarily a C corporation, but a lot of that income flows through to those owners, and if they're not careful and they're not planning properly, that tax is going to be personally liable for them. Not only that, but they are going to just have a hard time trying to pay that, and especially when they think that they're making money. And that's so hard. That's probably the hardest thing, right? Someone's thinking they're killing it, we're doing awesome, but then you look down and tax times come in. There was a ton of expenses that we couldn't take, and now you have a tax bill that you have no idea how you're going to pay. And that's probably one of the biggest things. Just work with somebody who knows the tax code, knows the tax laws, and know what you can and cannot deduct. Otherwise, you're going to get hit hard, man.
Got it. And what's the best way somebody can get hold of your business?
Yeah, so we have, Instagram, Facebook, and then our website too. Our website is leafbookcfo.com. You can search just Leafbook CFO on Facebook. You should be able to find it there too. And then, that's primarily the sources that we have. If you wanted to contact us for a meeting or something, you can reach out to me. I'm on Facebook as well, Frank Palomino. You can reach out to me there, or you can even just set a request on our website.
Oh, awesome. It's great to have you on, and you're more than welcome to be back on if you have any new announcements for your business and so on.
Well, I'm glad you had me, man. I'm really just trying to help other people in the industry. I know we're all just trying to do it right, and I just hate to see when business or cannabis business owners fall into this little trap of just not knowing and then finding out later, and it's too late, and it just makes it really hard to kind of catch up.
Oh, yep, got it. So yeah, thank you again.
Yeah, you're welcome, Henry.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.